And they're off. Green flag racing. Matt's getting an amazing start. Ultimate Case actually catching speed, napping. Matt getting the jump on his teammate down the inside. Necron losing to Cuckoo on the start. Can he pressure Dino into a mistake? Dino goes too wide and extremely close for P1. And is this going to be Jadlin going down the inside? Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, that's a spin. And there's another safety car. Oh my god, this carnage.
Jedlin and Kaze are both in the pits. Fennec, Exus, and Dean are all coming in as well. It'll be very tight if he still wants to make it to the back of this pack, but in the meantime, we do have everyone out of the pit, so we're probably going to get going on this next lap. We are, in fact, restarting now, regardless of that incident.
Okay, he's looking for that undercut. Does he get it? It looks like he might do that side by side and very close together. Cuckoo looking for that inside line on Jadlin ahead. Going into 130R, but they're going to be wanting to go fully defensive into the chicane of Casio Triangle. He's going to end up finishing in P1, crossing the line. Greenlink's going to cross the line. It's going to be Ultimate K's across the line.
Gillish comes across the line to win his second MSR title.
And hello viewers, and welcome to the first preseason of the MSR GT1 League. And yeah, interesting to see a lot quicker of a class of car compared to last season's V8. But as always, I am joined by WMDR Martin.
Greetings.
And yeah, so a lot different than the V8. Still has that amount of slide like the V8, but a lot more power and a lot more downforce through a lot more of these faster corners. And I don't know, but
I don't know who's been shelling in the points tonight, but we have 2,500 in his money on the safety car bet already. Someone's very certain that there's going to be one tonight.
Yeah, that's a lot of points straight away onto someone expecting there to be a safety car. So I wonder.
That almost makes me think that someone's been paid to cause one.
As yeah, Carla, I think yeah, voting for that the car as qualifying is underway. I don't know if the camera's moved. Oh, there it is.
No, I was being very lazy at my job. My apologies.
But yeah, some new drivers, some drivers that have come back over this season. And of course, a lot of drivers from last season, which is always good to see. Someone which I can instantly notice from a prior season that wasn't in the V8 is Tomberhawks, I believe. So he's back.
Speaking of returning drivers, is this Lewis Marlowe or is this a different Lewis?
I think that's a different Lewis. I think they're spelt differently. So I think this is definitely Lewis, more like Lewis Hamilton. Well, hopefully he can bring a similar performance to the league.
Turns out it's the real one. He's sick of driving that Mercedes.
Yeah. To be honest, this car would probably handle a bit better.
Kind of reminds me of the AMG 1. It's got that same kind of build style.
Yeah, yeah, of course. The Porsche, still a German company. Eddie in his livery, as you might be able to see.
Wait, which car is this? Is this a McLaren?
This is the McLaren, yeah, and with a custom livery. We might see a few custom liveries over this preseason just before the actual races, so we're going to be getting some sneak peeks. Of course, I'll be doing that livery tier list as well halfway through the season. Also, hello, Scuderia Condor. Fortunately, yeah, you can't make it, but hopefully you can make it to the next one. And yeah, Eddie setting a 157.7.
And I was quite confused because he's in a McLaren, but it says powered by BMW.
Well, for those who don't know, the McLaren was actually powered by a BMW engine.
Fascinating.
Which is, yeah, it's quite funny to see that a fast manufacturer such as McLaren would have done that, as we are seeing some actual quick times coming in with a 149.4 by Veilside and Tomahawks close behind with a 149.5 as we watch Eddie rounding off this final chicane and into the final, well, now into the final corner.
Feel the feeling, says the sponsorship. How inspirational. As he comes across the line, does not improve on this occasion. No, he does by 8.1 seconds, so that puts him in P3, 2/10 off of Veilside.
The top four.
Oh, someone's off there in turn 1.
The top four, almost 5/10 between them.
It's Lewis.
As he resets back to the pit, and we have a look at this amazing guardrail.
Meanwhile, this car's got a nice Hoonigan livery.
Yeah, I believe that is Veilside. Veilside, I think the last time he ran a Hoonigan livery was in the BMW M1 League. And yeah, that was quite a good livery. And I've got to say, I'm a fan of the colours on this one. Very classic towards the, what was it, the Ford? I don't know what sort of Ford it was, but it's definitely one of them. And it had a bunch of, probably the Hoonicorn, that's it.
It's definitely one we cannot afford to buy. But yeah, looking pretty good so far. He's got half a second to Gillish in P4. A lot of fast people have not set a lap yet, though.
Yeah, so far only the top 10 have set laps, so maybe some drivers pushing the track limits a bit too hard and getting their track limits. Forgot the words now.
Honda's taken P1 in the meantime, and he goes straight back into the pits. So that has me wondering if these cars are maybe really chewing through their tires on these laps.
Well, talking about tire wear, there is in fact 2 times tire wear, and you know, if you don't lock your tires, your tires should be able to go quite a far distance. Some people saying that they can go 33 laps. However, if you lock your tyres a bit too much, your race could potentially be over and you might have to switch to a completely different strategy.
As Veilside's now on a push lap, let's go on board with him.
Yeah, that lovely McLaren engine. I've definitely got to say, out of all the cars...
Didn't you say that was a BMW engine?
Oh, well, McLaren car, McLaren exhaust, BMW engine, V12, as Carl Lover says. And it's just one of the nicest sounding out of all of them. Some say that the Porsches, because it has a little bit of a
Ooh, hold on to that because he is currently on course to getting another provisional pole if he can keep this split alive. He's 2/10 up on this sector, and he's only 2/10 down of provisional pole so far, so he's got to find maybe one, even just half an extra tenth in the next 2 sectors to get that provisional pole back.
I went a bit deep into the hairpin there, but that's given him a better line out. Coming through probably one of the quickest corners, gets a bit of, touches the curb.
Sideways action.
Yeah, and gets a bit of sideways action, over-rotating the car on the rotating the car on the curb, which is gonna probably hinder his lap, unless his previous lap was also similar. As we hit, no, he's still on course. Can he
just
do
has
it?
to hold it. He has the milliseconds. He's just got to not make any mistakes in the final 3 corners.
Braking at the 100-meter mark, turning left, then right. Want to avoid those deadly yellow sausages as we head into the final corner and cutting in. He's gonna bit deep. He's gonna want to smash on the accelerator. Can he get the power on across the line? Where is he gonna go?
Yeah, the line's quite light here. He takes it. Wow, by half a second.
5/10 improvement.
That is not what I was expecting. He found a lot of time in those final few corners.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty much matching. It was
Thomas' time up until the final part, yeah.
Yeah. And
really strong lap by him there, but Tomba is also still on track, setting laps. 6 minutes left to go. Which car is this, Nismo?
well, this is one of my favourite cars. It's, of course, the Nissan. Unfortunately, out of all the car classes, though, it has proven to be the slowest car, but definitely the most comfortable. You can definitely push the limits of this car, but unfortunately, compared to, say, the Mercedes, the Porsche, and even the McLaren, it just does not have that straight line speed.
And he's putting that car on P2 so far. That's a pretty scary performance.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what capabilities Tom Hawks or any of these drivers who have been BOP'd would be able to do in the Mercedes. It's absolutely insane. Some of the drivers.
I do wonder as well where our top Mercedes drivers are going to be. Who do you think's the fastest one that's allowed to drive it this season? Because we do have the BOP, of course.
Well, I couldn't say per se, because I'm looking at the list and I'm looking down it and there doesn't seem to be, but I think Trouble is in fact in the Mercedes, so I'd have to go with Trouble being, as Tom Hawk's extremely close to beating Veilside in the Nissan.
Just 4 hundredths away, and that's barely any difference whatsoever. I mean, that can be some flies in front of the car farting and giving your car a bit more air or drag or whatever, and that's how much of a difference that is. It's almost nothing.
Yeah. As fun enough, Trouble enters the chat room saying that we are overhyping the Mercedes because it isn't actually that good into the corners.
Well, this probably won't be its strongest track, but it's definitely gonna do well on some others.
Yeah, I mean, we've got tracks like Le Mans, Monza, Hockenheim 1988, which are very, very straight line. I mean, there's a lot of straight line tracks on this season's calendar. And I think, yeah, the Nissan is going to be paying for that later.
And I think as well, when I was doing some racing here with you guys in an open lobby not too long ago, I was getting absolutely smoked and I was in one of the slower cars. So I think the Merc has definitely got something going for it, but of course it does need to be pushed to its limits, as Mats now sets a provisional pole, and that is almost another half a second faster than Veilside.
Yeah, maybe, well, we know how quick Mats is. He's always been one of the top competitors of this league. And... well,
and that's a VR46 1-2 as it stands.
Yeah, Mats and Veilside, teamed up together just like last season, and I think they're going to be very, very happy with preseason so far. But Tomahawks and Tomahawks and Gillis on the same team, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So this already, I'm looking at the charts, and it could be a close one, but in the team standings this year. Not this year, this season.
Yeah, I wonder if any team ends up too dominant, if we're going to see some people requesting a BOP for the team divisions as well. One fast driver, one slow driver per team. Could happen.
Yeah,
Might not happen.
But, yeah, for now, it seems as if...
There's a lot of people going through, well, getting close to the hairpin at this point. That's got to be affecting with each other with the dirty air.
Yeah, you can see watching on Fenix's onboard here that there are about 3 cars. Funny enough,
Ooh.
the Mercedes of, I don't know who that is, but someone's Mercedes, just deciding to let it go. Oh, okay, I thought
I
that
hope it was
Porsche
not a
was
hot lap,
gonna...
because that lap's been ruined. But yeah, a lot of traffic here. I've got to wonder as well how many people are actually able to take the Schumacher S's flat out, because I've seen some people barely lift off and some people lift off quite a bit. So I'm sure that's very setup and car dependent as well, but that's a place where you can lose or gain a lot of time.
Yeah, and yeah, hopefully, I think the Nissan will definitely be able to take it potentially flat or maybe a little lift, but I don't expect the Mercedes to be able to take that flat unless, of course, some setup work has done to the car.
Exactly, as Fennec now about to cross the line. That's not going to be a representative lap though, as this is probably going to be his push lap, but let's see who else might be on a push lap in this final minute of qualifying. Mats is still out on track trying to extend that pole. He's not too comfortable with that 3/10 gap, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, with 48 seconds, now 45, we've seen the pace of Tomahawks, and I think Matt's not wanting to risk it, wanting to absolutely push to his absolute limit. He does have that 3/10 margin, as you said, but Tomahawks could very much gain. But I've just noticed, actually, that Tomahawks is, in fact, in the pit, so that's going to be qualifying over for him.
Same for Keza as well, and he's a second behind current pole time. Gillish as well, but he's still on track. It does look like these cars are quite a challenge as well, as we're seeing quite the pace deficit between the top runners and the midfielders, as we're seeing some people 3.5 seconds off the pace. And that is Mats coming in. He is no longer on a push lap.
As Veilside just crosses the line to get onto his lap, he's going to be wanting to push all the way. He's going to be the last one out of everyone on qualifying. So he's going to be wanting to make every margin he can on Tomahawks up ahead, or even his teammates Mats.
Yeah, he's only got to gain one more tenth to get P2, but he's already down a tenth and a half coming out of Sector 1. It's not looking too good, but he's still got a chance. Probably not for P1, though.
As Veilside heads down into the hairpin. This can be one of the make or break corners, because you can lose the car so easy on entry, but getting a nice exit coming into the Schumacher S's, goes a bit wide. That's on the gravel, and that's a spin.
It looks like he found the Mullenbach layout in the background there, but yeah, I think Eddie's still on track. No, he's not. Fennec's still on track. No, he's going to have finished his lap as well. Who's still setting a lap? On board with Binding now, making his grand return.
Yeah, Binding, one of the returning drivers. Hard braking. He's one of the drivers in the Mercedes, if it wasn't noticeable enough by the Merc sign on the front.
And he's right behind Cuckoo as well, his former teammate, so very close pace-wise there.
As they head over the line, have they improved their lap? Are they going to be able to get their former teammate? They do improve.
It is an improvement, but not enough. I think that was the last car that was actually setting a hot lap, so if everyone comes in for the next session, then we should be done and dusted with this qualifying.
I think maybe the lobby might be glitched.
Oh boy. Well, I guess we can wait another 33 seconds. In the meantime, I'm going to go close my curtains and turn on the lights.
Yeah, hopefully we will be getting this underway in about 20 seconds. The session is over, but peculiarly it hasn't continued, so hopefully that will be done soon. But all drivers pretty much in the pit now, as that timer flashes to 0. And yes, qualifying session over. And let's have a look at the standings. So it's going to be Mats VR46 taking pole for the first race in preseason. Tomahawks 3/10 behind in second. Veilside in third, Gillis Holman in fourth, Ultimate K's in fifth, Eddie in sixth, Dayan, hopefully I've spelled that right, Dayan, our highest new driver, in seventh, Exebius in eighth, Fennec in ninth, Trouble in 10th, Cuckoo in 11th, Shad in Shad
I don't know if you've noticed in this moment, Matt is out of the lobby.
Uh-oh. He was that quick. Hopefully we might be able to get him back, because that would be really unfortunate if he has left. But
yeah, we're losing multiple people. I think they're restarting the lobby.
okay, so it's been a long time since I've had to bring out this this item, but the session's been red flagged. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to restart the lobby, guys, and hopefully we'll be back with you in a couple.
Pressure. Dino into a mistake. Dino goes too wide and extremely close for P1. And is this going to be Jedlin going down the inside? Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, that's a spin. And there's another safety car. Oh my god, this carnage.
Jedlin and Kays are both in the pits. Fennec, Exus, and Diener all coming in as well. It'll be very tight if he still wants to make it to the back of this pack. But in the meantime, we do have everyone out of the pits, so we're probably going to get going on this next lap. Restarting now regardless of that incident.
McKay's looking for that undercut. Does he get it? It looks like he might do that side by side and very close together. Cuckoo looking for that inside line on Jedlin ahead. Going into 130, but they're going to be wanting to go fully defensive into the chicane of Casio Triangle. He's going to end up finishing in P1, crossing the line. Greenlick's going to cross the line. It's going to be Ultimate K's across the line.
Gillish comes across the line to win his second MSR title.
Ultimate Case actually catching speed, napping Matt, getting the jump on his teammate down the inside. Necron losing to Cuckoo on the start. Kenny pressure. Dino into a mistake. Dino goes too wide and extremely close for P1. And is this going to be Jedlin going down the inside? Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, that's a spin. And there's another safety car. Oh my god, this carnage.
Jedlin and Kays are both in the pits. Fennec, Exus, and Diener all coming in as well. It'll be very tight if he still wants to make it to the back of this pack. But in the meantime, we do have everyone out of the pits, so we're probably going to get going on this next lap. Restarting now regardless of that incident.
McKay's looking for that undercut. Does he get it? It looks like he might do that side by side and very close together. Cuckoo looking for that inside line on Jedlin ahead. Going into 130, but they're going to be wanting to go fully defensive into the chicane of Casio Triangle. He's going to end up finishing in P1, crossing the line. Greenlick's going to cross the line. It's going to be Ultimate K's across the line.
Gillish comes across the line to win his second MSR title.
amazing start. Ultimate Case actually catching speed, napping Matt, getting the jump on his teammate down the inside. Necron losing to Cuckoo on the start. Can he pressure Dino into a mistake? Dino goes too wide and extremely close for P1. And is this going to be Jedlin going down the inside? Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, that's a spin. And that's another safety car. Oh my god, this carnage.
Jedlin and Kays are both in the pits. Fennec, Exus, and Diener all coming in as well. It'll be very tight if he still wants to make it to the back of this pack, but in the meantime, we do have everyone out of the pit, so we're probably going to get going on this next lap. We are, in fact, restarting now, regardless of that incident.
McKay's looking for that undercut. Does he get it? It looks like he might do that side by side and very close together. Cuckoo looking for that inside line on Jedlin ahead. Going into 130, but they're going to be wanting to go fully defensive into the chicane of Casio Triangle. He's going to end up finishing in P1, crossing the line. Greenlink's going to cross the line. It's going to be Ultimate Case across the line.
Gillish comes across the line to win his second MSR title.
Matt's getting an amazing start. Ultimate Case actually catching speed, napping Matt, getting the jump on his teammate down the inside. Necron losing to Cuckoo on the start. Can he pressure Dino into a mistake? Dino goes too wide and extremely close for P1. And is this going to be Jedlin going down the inside? Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, that's a spin. And that's another safety car. Oh my god, this carnage.
Jedlin and Kays are both in the pits. Fennec, Exus, and Diener all coming in as well. It'll be very tight if he still wants to make it to the back of this pack, but in the meantime, we do have everyone out of the pit, so we're probably going to get going on this next lap. We are, in fact, restarting now, regardless of that incident.
McKay's looking for that undercut. Does he get it? It looks like he might do that side by side and very close together. Cuckoo looking for that inside line on Jedlin ahead. Going into 130, but they're going to be wanting to go fully defensive into the chicane of Casio Triangle. He's going to end up finishing in P1, crossing the line. Greenlink's going to cross the line. It's going to be Ultimate Case across the line.
Gillish comes across the line to win his second MSR title.
And welcome back, viewers, as our red flag has been lifted and you watch as all the drivers move away for the formation lap. The drivers moving into their selected qualifying positions. So Matt is going to be the one leading the way, then Tomahawks, then Veilside, then Gillis, then Eddie, and then...
Hold on, Nismo, 2 seconds. Notice above the main straight, there's a little pit stop hand floating in the air. Right there in the distance, next to the Merc logo.
Wait.
I feel like that it's been an issue on this track since Project Cars 1, 2, and now this game as well, that there's always got to be something floating on the main straight at Nurburgring. It's really weird. Anyway, go on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, continue on.
Yeah, that's the... But yeah, so drivers forming up now, leaving the grid. And some drivers, I think, especially towards the front, are going to be suffering a bit more with colder tyres. But as we get our last person going, and I think Scuderia Condor has actually made it into the lobby. He wasn't there for qualifying, and I know because he was said it in the chat, but he's with us in the race. One of the new drivers, and I know from experience with driving with them online that they are definitely a quick driver, and great to see that they're going to have some great battles in this league, hopefully, with us.
So there's someone to watch out for coming from the back of the grid then.
Yeah, but is that someone in the pit lane on...
I can't check because whoever it is, they are not in the list of drivers at the moment.
Well, whoever they are clearly a ghost. So hopefully that won't seem to bother both the commentators, us, or the drivers as we watch these cars try and make it up to the pack. The main pack has now passed the Schumacher S's and in fact going into the next corner, so these guys need to get a bit of a hurry on going as pretty much quick and as safe as they can be through the Schumacher S's.
Yeah, I mean, that friend group seems to really be flooring it themselves, and they're probably going to come to a complete standstill in the final sector. Definitely hope that no one gets rear-ended, as we've seen that happen a few times before. That's why I kind of think it might be better to just kind of trundle along the track at a slow pace until everyone's caught up, rather than just get to a complete standstill.
And you can see all 18 drivers making their way up to the chicane. This is quite a fancy grid. Not just one car, but multiple different car types. You got the Merc, the Porsche, the Nissan, and of course the McLaren. So as they all funnel round the chicane, they're going to enter the formation zone where we're going to see them go too wide. It's going to be Matt's lined up next to Tomahawks. And
there's two teams dominating the top 4 spots at the moment.
As they head to the line, they're now in the start zone.
Which of these two teams is going to come out on top, as Matt has floored it.
Oh, I've still got the red flag up. Get rid of that. But yeah, Matt's getting an amazing start. And instantly, Vilside properly chucking, I believe, Tomahawks off the side there. And he's not going to be too happy about that. Instantly getting dropped towards the back. And it looks like we've got our first safety car of the season.
Yeah, because there was another bit of contact there with multiple cars behind them in turn 1. Someone getting spun around. Dimitrov, I think, got the worst of that as he's down in P17. Condor still in last place, so I'm guessing he's just been avoiding trouble. Not the driver, but the concept. And yeah, that was a very spicy turn 1. Who was that lost out there? That was Tamba. I think he turned in on who was that he would have turned in on? Would that have been Veilside? I think he turned into Veilside, and then maybe Veilside wasn't able to steer as sharply because of it. Well, and then he just got completely sent off the track.
Yeah, well, from at least my perspective, it seemed as if Veilside very much was one of the later of the breakers between the two. And yeah, Tomahawks maybe should have looked for an undercut, but unfortunately he was forced straight just with Veilside, but Veilside getting lucky, Tomahawks not so much.
Yeah, if the car on the inside goes deep, it tends to be better to try and do the under and over on him, but especially in turn 1 with a whole grid of drivers behind you, it's a very, very risky move, so I think you would have been damned if you did, damned if you didn't. But yeah, with the safety car coming out, that does minimize the effects of that incident, at least even if it might have been called out for the other one. So it's going to be interesting to see how many people come into the pits, because I don't think the contact we saw was that heavy. So we might not actually end up with anyone pitting.
Yeah. I mean, you know from experience, though, that some of these cars, at least on default setup, one bit of damage can in fact cause an entire mess up of the setup, especially in the Mercedes from experience. But we're going to see a lot of these drivers seem to be passing the pit lane. Does anyone filter in? It looks like everyone's filtering past. Are we going to go this lap? As everyone is in fact passing.
So no one in the pits. That might be an early restart.
And it looks like it is, as they go absolutely barreling once again into turn 1. Are we going to have a safety car this time? Eddie's in P2. Where's Eddie come from? I just realized.
I don't know, but Gillish is making an overtake on Xevious as well, but Xevious holds the inside line. It's really, really tough to pass around the outside here, but he's made it stick. So Xevious holding that position, but it's a switchback already.
Back.
Well, is it gonna? No, he plays it safe and relinquishes that position,
Oh,
but that's Gillish really playing with the track limits there.
Yeah, very, very wide indeed. He might have to give up a bit of time to Xevious, as there's a bit of contact behind between Fennec and Xevious. Fennec
Less
touching
trouble through.
Yeah,
that contact was not the best for Fennec, as it let one of his rivals through. There's been another incident, I think it was in turn 2 or 3, and quite a few people now in 2x2 fights at the back of the field, not where you might expect them, including Tomba. Tomba's way down here.
Tomba.
Exus as well.
Yeah, Tomba having an absolutely terrible of a start, starting in P2 and is all the way down in P17. So he's got quite a way to come back from that.
As we're seeing some good action here. The whole, well, most of the pack still very close together despite the dirty air that these cars bring. There's some moves going down on the inside. Who's that?
It's Binding versus Lewis.
Lewis making the move stick, and I think that's Binding's teammate right behind him. So I wonder if Shad might have some more pace, or if he's going to have to fight his way past his teammate.
You can see the Mercedes drivers maybe struggling a lot more, but that looks to be Cuckoo going for a move on Fennec, barreling down the inside.
Who's that from behind? That's Dimitrov. Dimitrov sends it really deep. The damage is limited, but yeah, that's not the way you want to go for an overtake.
Almost going 3 wide through that second corner. Down the inside goes Fennec. The two teammates of Fennec and Trouble battling, one in the McLaren, one in the Mercedes. And you can see Dimitrov properly battling with Trouble as they head into this next corner. Dimitrov defending the inside from Cuckoo. Cuckoo now having the inside to this next corner, but Dimitrov keeping it round the outside and sticking the move. But they're going to be trying to keep their eyes set on the back of Trouble now.
Yeah, this battle's not going to be over for a long time. There's some fast drivers back here, some medium speed drivers up ahead, and they're not giving up on these positions. So this is going to be a long fight, I think. Well, that has got to be the lowest roof cam I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, the Mercedes is very low, Binding down the inside into this corner.
Lewis getting that position back after only 1 lap. The 2 ahead also side by side.
Yeah, Binding though making that move look absolutely easy, and that puts him up into P10. Fennec onto the back of their teammate. It's a 4-way battle for 6th place.
That's some heavy defending against your teammate from Trouble there.
Dimitrov looking for an opportunistic move on Fennec, and this 4-car battle has now turned into what seems to be a 6, 7, 8 car battle. It's incredibly close for this P6 position.
Now looks like Cook is going to go for a move on Dimitrov down the inside into turn 1.
Dimitrov forcing them a bit to the right, a bit of contact between the drivers as they head into the corner.
All the time you have to leave out of space.
Dimitrov now having the inside line. Cuckoo stuck on the outside. They're once again going to be stuck on the outside of this corner. Dimitrov down the inside, trying to hold that position. And Cuckoo now has the inside line. They're going back and forth and back.
Well, this
Dimitrov
is
going
great
a bit
racing.
wide, and a bit of contact between the drivers again. Lots of paint trading as we head into this next corner. Are they going to give each other space? They still have more contact into the right-hander, but I think Cuckoo might have it. Dimitrov going wide and onto the grass. That's going to be them losing not one, but two at 3 positions. Very unfortunate, but they try to dive it down the inside to try and get that position back. But
Yeah, fighting with Kunishek now after letting both Binding and Cuckoo through. This is a really chaotic fight, and they're all using every single inch of the track that they can legally use. It's incredible action tonight.
oh, that's someone off.
That's Xevious. Xevious from, I think he was in the top 5 for quite a while. That's massively unfortunate, because that would have been great points for the team.
Yeah, I mean, it is only preseason, so the points don't count, but
So
yeah.
that's why I said would have.
Yeah,
Haha.
bragging
Oh, I think
rights,
we have our
bragging
first
rights,
DNF.
those count.
We've lost someone. I'm not sure who that was.
Oh, heavy down the inside.
Ooh.
Oh, and a bit of contact. Oh,
my.
oh.
What the?
Oh. Well,
That was probably the best camera view to see that one in.
yeah, it seems like Lewis found a new
Undertaker.
definition of undertaking someone. But both drivers still very much alive. Dimitrov looking for another opportunistic move down the inside. Collision between both drivers. Dimitrov seems to be very confident. Oh my. We're now seeing an interesting spectacle. I'm guessing this isn't what they're seeing on each other's screen. I'm guessing
That is most definitely desync, but you love to see it on stream at least. It's probably difficult to race with that, but yeah, it's great on camera. Oh boy. As there's quite a scrap going on back here as well between Trickster Xevious trying to get those positions back and Max, not Max just behind. For P2, they're still quite close as well. Veilside trying to get Eddie. Eddie doing a tremendous job with that controller in P2. Only 4 seconds behind Mats in P1. Veilside trying to make that a 1-2. Gillish, though, does not have the pace to stick with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely close though between Eddie and Veilside, and wonder if Eddie were to defend from Veilside, whether that could lead them into the clutches. But one massive battle that is brewing is the battle between, I think, P5, not P5, sorry. Well, yeah, P5 all the way down to P12 are only split by about 3-4 seconds. So one mistake by any of those 6 drivers could easily be them losing 6 positions. You see Scuderia Condor losing the rear a bit, and that does not give them a good exit. But they might get a good, that's a one coming out of the corner.
Not quite on this occasion, but yeah, it's really interesting. You see some very questionable braking lines, and you think there's going to be definite contact. And then these cars just end up stopping anyway. They got some pretty amazing brakes, if you ask me. As that's more side-by-side action, I think that is Cuckoo versus Trouble still ongoing.
Yeah, Cuckoo looking for the move down the inside, but I think Trouble looking for that undercut, but Cuckoo perfectly placing it on the apex of the corner, not allowing the undercut. That's, yeah, also let Binding get even closer to...
We've lost another driver, unfortunately.
Oh, that is very, very unfortunate. I think it might have been Shad, because Shad in the chat saying, I think I forgot to increase the radiator opening.
Oh no, is that a popped engine?
So that is incredibly, incredibly unfortunate for Shad. And Scuderia Condor, though, getting very close to the back of Lewis. Seems to be getting very close as the confirmation does come in of Shad saying, engine go pop.
That is the one sound you don't want to hear the engine make, as Kunishek now sending it up the inside of Binding, but not quite making it a real move there.
So it seems as if the Mercedes does have one falter, and I mean I've been looking at it the entire race, and it seems to have to brake a little earlier compared to a lot of the other cars. So on a track as complex as this one, it's definitely going to be the one at one of the most disadvantages.
That's for sure. It's yeah, car choice is really gonna matter across the season here, not in the individual races it seems, and that's gonna make them more unpredictable, which is what I like to see. Meanwhile, Eddie's still holding strong in P2. These guys are still duking it out. As I said, this fight's gonna last a while,
Ooh.
unless that keeps happening. That is some late braking there from Kunisek.
Yeah, Kunisek running a bit into the back of Binding. But yeah, very close racing between these three.
Oh, hold on. Eddie's lost his position. And he's already 2 seconds down on Veilside as well, so that must have been a pretty big mistake. That gives Mats and Veilside a 1-2 for their team. Meanwhile, the other two drivers from their rival team that also started in the top 4, Gillish down in P4, Tamba P14. So these guys not having the best preseason race. Lots of counter steering there from Tamba, so that car is on edge.
Yeah, luckily it is pre-season, but hopefully they won't have any similar results in the upcoming upcoming points-paying races. Binding in P8 touches the gravel.
Oh, saves it though.
I think
And that's someone going wide. Oh, and Kunisek immediately taking the chance to go around the outside.
Oh, you can see Kunisek oversteering a bit, getting a very loosey-goosey rear, and that's going to leave them compromised to the straight line speed of the Mercedes coming down as someone goes wide and Binding extremely close to the back of Kunisek. Goes right, goes left, down the inside. Oh, and they've been tapped from behind.
Dimitrov too late on the brakes. Is he gonna try and let them back through is the question. No, Dimitrov keeps on racing, so that could be a potential penalty.
Yeah. The stewards are going to have a look at that one when a ticket's brought up. But Cuckoo now onto the back of Fennec, running similar blues, but definitely different cars. As Cuckoo finding the grip.
Exit. Oh, not quite enough though. Gonna have to wait. These are some of the slowest corners on the track. Quite torturous to drive in these cars, I must add.
Yeah, I mean, with that much power behind the steering wheel and without any downforce, it's gonna be all on the throttle control and how much you can hold it, essentially.
Looks like Condor's really trying their best to get past Dimitrov, but Dimitrov has proven earlier in this race already that he is willing to fight tooth and nail for every position he can get.
Yeah, Scuderia Condor doing a great job so far. Started P18, already gained 8 positions. So that's basically a position every lap so far. So if they keep that up, that could be very much them higher up into the standings.
As I keep on having to flip-flop between battles because everyone's just so close together in these packs. That big 8-car fight's kind of split up into 3 2-car fights.
Oh, Condor finding the grip on the exit, round the outside of Dimitrov, almost forced onto the gravel, has the run around the outside. Can he, which is now going to turn into the inside of this chicane. Who's going to be the later of the breakers? Who's going to be able to hold the position? Scuderia Condor with the inside line. Nobody's got off. And that allows Dimitrov to pass him back and hold on to that P9 position. Yeah,
Lewis almost getting P10 there as well. That was a really, really nice move around the outside, especially on exit from Condor there. But just overshot it at the chicane. I don't think that was necessary.
Oh, there's been a move between Cuckoo and Fennec.
Oh. Yeah, Cuckoo has gotten past Fennec, so unfortunately we did miss that. But Dimitrov there, I think would have lost that position if Condor had just played it safe at the chicane, because that is a much better line there to have the inside. It's almost impossible to take it side by side, so the car on the outside tends to have to concede there.
Yeah. And just behind as well, another battle seems to be brewing between Kunisek and Trouble.
I don't think it's ever going to stop brewing with all these 2x2s we've got going on.
Just
in the meantime, it seems like Gillish, only 6 seconds behind Eddie. He's still got a chance to catch up, but that last lap was 8/10 slower, so he's not doing a great job at the moment.
Yeah.
Setting pretty much the same lap time as Cuckoo, who's been fighting Fennec the whole time.
Kunisek
Cuckoo now
though.
pulling away from trouble.
Oh, and I've just seen something appear in chat. Ultimate K's wheel died before the start. So
that might have been that one driver we couldn't see in the pits.
That was his race. Completely over. That's very unfortunate. And yes, for restarting to save Matt and Ultimate K's, unfortunately, getting swapped out for the position and unable to start the race. But yeah, Kunisek needs to get this position from trouble, but you can just see how much more straight line speed the Mercedes has. But under braking, Kunisek in the Nissan has a lot better traction.
Yeah, it's just so hard to make an overtake around here if you can't get that inside line and the driver ahead of you doesn't make a mistake. But on exit here, when the corners start to get a bit faster, that's when you get opportunities. As it looks like he's got the straight line speed, but not the entry space. So having to wait a couple more corners there for the next opportunity. Quickly gonna double check behind these guys as well. Okay, these guys are a little more spaced out. So back to these two. Trouble v Kunisek for P7.
Kunisek braking a bit earlier, maybe looking for a better exit. But unable. I wonder, do they lift here? Yeah, it seems like even the Nissan has to lift, but gets a lot better of an exit. Trouble defending the inside. Kunisek looking around the outside and now cutting in. Gets an even better exit, trying to push it down the inside, but Trouble closing the door and not allowing him to make the move.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to need a much better exit if you want to defeat a Merc on the straight, so Trouble definitely using that to his advantage. Car sliding around quite a bit in some of the high-speed corners, though, so that is where he could end up losing out. And he's really struggling in the chicane, too. Who's going to get the better exit here? Looks like he's got the car length ahead, and Kunisek does not send it up the inside, decides to play it safe. So, again, having to wait for another opportunity. Quickly going to double-check on these guys. They're still quite close, not making a move yet. Going back to Kuni.
Yeah, Kuni seems to have the slipstream, and now the inside line going into the first corner, where the inside line is crucial. Well, that inside turns to the outside of corner 2. And is Kunisek going to be able to hold it all around the outside? And he's going to be once again stuck on the outside and hoping that Trouble might make another mistake.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this season, if Trouble keeps this kind of performance up, it's looking good for him because he might not quite have the pace right now as they're still side by side. Kuni on the outside. Is he going to be able to hold it when it becomes the inside? He is so far. But the better exit again should belong to the Merc. Who's going to come out on top? Kuni's still going to have the inside for the hairpin.
Yeah, these guys have been almost side by side for most of the lap. And Trouble's still trying to hold it around the outside, but is unable to. Nissan just able to slide ahead and able to be the one coming out first through the Schumacher S's.
Yeah, and I mean, I was going to say Trouble doesn't seem to really have the pace, but he's doing really well at making it difficult for people to pass. And if he's able to do that across the season, combined with the fact that there's a couple tracks that are really going to suit that car, I think he's set for some really good performances this time around. As just up ahead, it looks like Condor again really fighting hard with Dimitrov.
Yeah, this is definitely one battle to be watching as they break into the 100-meter zone. Scuderia Condor just lying and waiting as Dimitrov makes small and minor mistakes. Nothing to allow Condor to make a move on, but definitely something to allow him to gain, and he's going to be all up in the slipstream. I'm wondering, is he going to be able to dive it down the inside? I think Dimitrov goes semi-defensive into this next corner.
He's going to go for a switchback, but is Dimitrov going to have a bad exit or not? He kind of has the racing line. He blocks Condor. It's just such a tight corner.
And all this battling as well is letting Exevius and Binding behind gain So Condor really is going to be wanting to try and pass Dimitrov as much as he can as both drivers go wide again.
Looking a bit towards the top end of the field as well. It seems like Gilish has made a couple mistakes. Only 5 seconds ahead of Cuckoo now, and really dropped off the back of Eddie, so it looks like the top 3 may well be set in stone. And if Cuckoo keeps up those laps, we could see a fight for P4 starting soon.
Oh, that's Dimitrov going wide and getting tapped on the back. Luckily, able to hold it.
Yeah, that was a good save, and well done on Connor for not completely taking Dimitrov out, so this battle can continue for a bit longer, though. Weaving all over the place.
And that's going to allow Condor down the inside. That's the mistake he's been looking for. That's the opportunity he needs. And he's going to be stuck now on the outside. But Dimitrov going a bit deep into the corner, but is able to hold it ahead. But now
How is he still ahead?
These two Porsches have a new enemy, and that's the two Mercedes that have now gained and turned this from a two-way battle to a four-way battle.
Another one. In the meantime, Eddie is in the pits as well. Are you aware of any scheduled pit stops?
Yeah, so over the course of the race, since it is 2 times tyre wear, we are going to see some of these tyres just completely drop off. The hards probably will last around 30, maybe 25 laps. But the softs will definitely go off, probably the quickest out of all of them. Escuderio Condor getting dived by Exevius. Exevius poking his nose in. And I think Condor's gonna need to make a move on Dimitrov soon. But that's Binding making a move on Exevius down the inside. But that's going to be the outside of the next corner. Can Exevius look for a switchback? He can't. But both drivers keeping it within track limits and safe.
Also, that's a really long pit stop from Eddie. He's gone from P3 to P14.
Could be damage. Could be tire change and even fuel. Who knows? Hopefully it wasn't damage. But hopefully he can get back up.
Yeah, meanwhile, that Xevious move as well, I don't think he's really the type of guy to go for a super aggressive overtake like that. So I think he was just trying to maximize his exit speed there, as he's doing the exact opposite right now. Ooh. But he keeps it on the track. Meanwhile, right ahead of them, more side-by-side action. Condor, though, still ahead, making it very difficult for... Dimitrov still ahead, making it very difficult for Condor to get past.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a TP no control in here, so someone has replaced the brick wall, and that is in the form of Dimitrov.
There's new bricks in town.
Dimitrov going defensive into next corner. Xevious getting a bit of a whack, it seems, from Binding, and Binding getting a bad exit. But yeah, incredibly close though between these top 8 to P11.
As Max drops out of the race, I believe he'd been stuck in the pits for quite some time. That's another unfortunate DNF, down to 15 racers. And yeah, I think again, Xevious not the type of guy to go for super aggressive overtakes. I think he was just trying to maximize his exit speed there and pretty much got so close that he'd end up tapping Condor. But yeah, now he's going to have to watch out because Binding, again, really close in the first sector. Same thing with the 2 cars ahead.
Condor still all on the back. And Binding wanting to be ahead of Xevious. The Condor properly pressuring as Dimitrov going a bit wide. Is that going to allow Condor to make a move? No, Dimitrov still getting the exit. He needs to be able to defend it into this next corner.
It's got to be so frustrating. He's seen him make a million mistakes, but none of them are bad enough to really get an overtake going.
Or going to be holding in behind, and I wonder how bad is the dirty air in these cars. How much more would you have to slow up through that section? It doesn't seem to be...
I mean, it doesn't seem to be ridiculously bad considering all of the packs of cars we've had so far. As again, a mistake from Dimitrov, but again, Condor not being able to capitalize off of it.
Yeah, that must be so frustrating to see someone make a mistake, but just easily able to place the car in front of you before you can make the overtake. Dimitrov defending that inside line. Condor looking around the outside.
Yeah, you can't really make a switch back here either. It's too tight, but you can try and get a better exit. Dimitrov, though, having the speed coming out of that corner. Who's going to have it in the final one? Because this is a crucial straight. Lots of slipstream here.
Of seeming to still get the better exit, but will they compromise their own line by defending?
And all of this as well is allowing Trouble to have a nice calm time in P7, probably, I mean, hopefully saving his tires, whereas these guys are tearing them to shreds with all this battling, I'm sure. K is also confirming everyone will have to go into the pits at least for fuel, even if they're crazy enough to complete the race on one set of tires. Also, might want to add Cuckoo now within 2 to 3 seconds of Gillish for a net P4, so Gillish not really actually in the top 3, unless Eddie actually did have damage. We still haven't gotten that confirmed yet, because no one else of the top drivers has come into the pits yet, so maybe a different tire strategy there. And I think there's something going on between Tomba and Lewis. Tomba might have just gotten past them.
I mean, yeah, I do wonder whether some drivers might decide, whoa, Lewis off into the grass.
Well, that would explain the overtake.
But yeah,
in the meantime, though, this is Cuckoo in P4. You can really see how close they are to Gillish, so maybe Gillish starting to chew through those tires. He's going to be looking forward to his next set. Very likely. Condor, though, again, stuck to the bumper of Dimitrov.
Yeah, and yeah, talking back to that tyre strategy, some drivers could actually be thinking, maybe I should start on the soft, try and make some positions up, and then pit for the hards, or maybe start on the hards and go for the soft, or who knows, maybe go double softs or double hards. I mean, there's no mandatory requirement to change tyre compound over the course of the race, only that you are in fact going to need to, well, you're going to have to pit for fuel anyways, as Ultimate Case said earlier.
Ooh, hold on, Xevious going for a move on Condor into turn 1 out of nowhere.
Down the inside, but both drivers going wide. That's also Dimitrov going wide, but extremely close. Oh, no, Xevious spinning!
Oh, what a bummer, but he's still in it to win it. This fight is not over yet. We're only halfway through this race, and he's managed to salvage it. But yeah, unfortunate there. That could well have been P8, and he's down in P11. Somehow, again, Dimitrov making the mother of all mistakes, and still staying ahead of all 3 of these guys.
Yeah, it's been incredibly close here. It's going to be a Condor getting a better exit as Dimitrov touches a bit too much curb, and I think they're going to be able to make it past them even before the next corner, and that's Condor finally ahead of Dimitrov, and can they keep it now?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Dimitrov get overtaken by some other drivers before, and he certainly didn't give up back then either, so he's going to try and get past Condor as soon as physically possible, and potentially keep this fight going for even longer. In the meantime, Trouble's about 4 seconds up the road, so even if... Ooh, hold on, that is Dimitrov. No, sorry, that's Binding going wide again, which is gonna probably reignite the Xevious part of this battle.
Xevious slowly bringing himself back into the frame.
But yeah, it definitely seems like these guys are similar on pace, despite how much Condor was harassing Dimitrov for the past 3 laps.
Yeah, and I think we've just about hit the halfway point as well. So drivers quite spread and might be considering now some pit strategy over this course of the race.
And Cuckoo gets ever closer to Gillish. That last lap was 0.6 faster. That is amazing pace there from Cuckoo. Once again, proving to be one of the best midfield drivers, at least at the start of this season.
Yeah, and well, hopefully they can bring it back. We know from previous experience that P4 is one of their favourite positions to finish in, as both drivers go extremely wide. I do wonder if that's track limits, because the curb on the outside is track limits, but it still needs to kind of keep your tyres within the white line when there is no curb. So they might be investigated for some track limit infractions later.
Yeah, it could well happen, especially since Case is watching the stream now rather than racing, as there's a lot of rear-end action going on in Dimitrov's car. Are they catching Trouble? Let's look at the lap times. Trouble's last was a 52.5, Condor 52.3, although that was still in a lap where they were battling. That gap has shrunk, so I think at the end of this one, we're going to see how much they caught. But, oh, that's a massive mistake from Condor. Is Dimitrov going to retake that position now?
Round the outside and easily in front. And all that effort that Condor made to make that move past Dimitrov has gone to absolute waste. And he's got to now find another way around. Whoa, as Xevious making a mistake in front of Tomahawks, and Tomahawks back
he's lost
into P11.
So much time. Yeah, that's a massive disaster for Xevious, number 2 this race. He's, hold on, there's more positions being switched. Dimitrov coming into the pits, he's had it with these tires. And I was going to mention as well, Dimitrov makes a million mistakes. It's still really difficult to overtake him. Condor makes 1, and Dimitrov's already retaken that position. So that just shows how prepared he is to go for that. Condor, though, staying out, maybe still relatively satisfied with the tires. And binding with him. But yeah, Xevious with disaster number 2 coming into the pits. Probably for fresh tires, definitely for fuel. Not been having the greatest race, but it does seem like he's at least got decent pace. So that is one positive to take away from this event.
Oh, I don't know if they overshot their pit there. But no matter. Cuckoo versus Gillis. We saw this battle earlier. We saw that Cuckoo was gaining. But this lap they've gained about a second, well over a second, on Gillis. And it's coming to fruition, their pace. As you can see, taking a lot more speed than the McLaren. Bit too much speed through that corner, but Cuckoo, no matter, is the one gaining onto the back of Gillis. And might we start to see some strategy now slowly come out, as some people might start to try and undercut each other. I know both drivers.
Nothing going on here though. No in moments, and we could see an actual on-track overtake, which is a lot nicer than a pit lane overtake.
Yeah, indeed, and that's Cuckoo in the slipstream, closing. Now side by side, going into the first corner, down the inside. Gillis on the outside might be looking for an undercut, seems to have it, but they're going to be on the outside of this next corner. But they're holding their car there, they're holding steady. We're going into this next hard braking zone. The inside car most of the time is going to be the one that comes out on top, and Cuckoo indeed is. Cuckoo is going to be now up into P3.
Yeah, absolutely no chance to hold that around the outside on worn tires, as it looks like, hold on, there's a lot of people coming into the pits now. That's what we're seeing with this big shuffling of the positions going on. We've got Condor, Binding, Fennec, and Cooney all in the pits at the same time. Same with Lewis, but he might be a lap down. So I do wonder who of these guys is going to come out first, as Lewis DNFs from the pit lane. Maybe his mechanics punctured all the tires. As we do have our first of these drivers exiting the pits. Condor now making his way out too. I think the first one out is going to be Fennec, and he did come in first, so that does make sense.
As we see,
Binding, though, still in there.
I think Eddie just coming out ahead of Condor, and Dimitrov trying that early pit stop, but it not working to his to his plan, and he's dropped a position to...
I mean, look at Binding as well. Binding is even way behind Dimitrov at this point, so they were all very close to each other coming in. They're massively separated coming out, so there's got to be some strategic differences going on there. I don't think that can all just be damage repair.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the difference of adding a bit more fuel, changing tires, who knows.
As Matt's now in the pits along with Cuckoo, so looks like Gillish happy to stay on whatever kind of prehistoric tires those are. Yeah. And it does seem like Gillish is the one losing pace rather than Cuckoo suddenly having lightning pace, because that's still a 40-second gap to Matt's before the pit stops. And Gillish has just really been dropping away from the top 3 positions. As we'll see where Tomba is right now. Tomba coming out of the final corner. He's not had his pit stop yet, I believe, but is still going to come out behind Matt's. So no on-track action between those two just yet. Cuckoo also just come out of the box. That's going to be right behind Tomba. Where is Fennec? Ooh, Fennec is way behind.
Yeah, and a really loud noise. I don't know what that is, but yeah, Condor though onto the back of.
It's called a motor race. Just had to say that. Yeah, Condor though, once again putting the pressure on his opposing drivers. Eddie down in P8. He was doing very well at the early stages of this race. I wonder what happened.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie, I think after that first incident was in P2, but maybe getting involved in a bit more incidences off screen. Who knows?
Oh, crud, yeah, I just realized I lost all my NIS money with that safety car bet.
Give me. Sorry. I mean, give Car Lover, who bet a 2.5k, which was very, very bold. But
very, very deliberate, I'm sure. I think we should investigate this matter.
But Condor, though, getting a lot more grip compared to Eddie. That Porsche just having that ever so slightly more grip than the McLaren. You can see the McLaren actually drifting, but Condor is the one that is going to be making a mistake out of the corner. Seemed to overcorrect the car.
Well, just look at how much more speed Condor's got through that corner compared to Eddie. I know that's a hard corner on controller, but Eddie really not maximizing it. Still holding on to the inside, though, not giving up the position.
Bit of contact as Condor goes wide, takes the inside line. And that is going to be Eddie. Drop down to P9 and Condor up into P8.
Now, I just want to mention as well, Trouble in P3 has not pitted yet. Gotta wonder where he's going to come out when he does pit compared to this pack over here, because Condor was probably a good 5 seconds behind him when he came in.
Yeah, so lots of different strategy, and with 13 laps remaining, I'm going to go with that, 13 laps remaining, a lot more drivers are going to increase their aggression, but I don't know if...
Did you just say normal drivers?
Did I?
But what was the word you used there?
I cannot remember. I got a goldfish memory when I'm coming.
I mean, we definitely have some abnormal drivers as well, so...
Well, yeah, definitely some aliens within the group. I mean, Veilside clearly becoming an...
You speak his name and he pitteth.
And I think Gillis... Will Gillis come in this lap?
Gillis. No, he stays out even longer.
What? So, I mean, is Gillis going to try a no stop? I mean, I was told that it's not possible, but maybe with some sort of fuel saving technique, it could be.
We've got a maximum of 27 laps by Kaze's calculation, so that's another 5. So they're really trying to maybe hope for another safety car, but I think that's pretty unlikely at this point. That's Trouble now staying out as well in P2. I believe these two, along with Tomba... Oh, never mind, Tomba is pitting, so I think that's just those two now. The only drivers not to have pitted in P1 and P2. Goes to show how long a pit stop around here takes, because Mats is only in P3.
Yeah, I mean, the tyre changes, at least from when I was in the car and did a tyre change, they are literally changing the tyres in slow motion. That's how slow the game makes them change these cars' tyres. Is that the actual game makes the cinematic view of them changing the tyres move in slow motion, the pit crew. Which I just think is quite hilarious.
Yeah, Tom is still in the pits experiencing that slow motion you were talking about. Binding is going to overtake him as well. So even though Binding's lost out on the pit stops, he's still ahead of Tomba, which just goes to show how harsh Tomba's race has in fact been after that turn 1 incident. Home
Chicken's got the refuel glitch.
Oh.
And had to unfortunately retire for that. Home Chicken, of course, well, not of course, but Home Chicken was in fact Lewis. So when they went into the pit lane and you saw them disappear, that was them unfortunately not being fueled up and their team basically just forgetting the fuel. And
that is
very,
incredibly
very
painful. I do wonder though if Lewis had tried multiple pit stops there. I'm not sure how many times he ended up going into the pits, because I've definitely seen that happen many times before, and that's why it's sometimes a bit better to pit when you still have maybe 2 or 3 laps worth of fuel in the car, just in case the pit crew tries to screw you over, because sometimes you're able to change the strategy on the fly and it'll suddenly register it and actually give you fuel on the next attempt. That's Trouble now in the pits, and he has hopefully not had a pit bug. That seemed like a really fast stop.
Yeah,
He's come out in P4.
Yeah, ahead of, I believe that is Cuckoo out
There's
behind.
no way it was a genuine stop. That's got to be a bug. I mean, I guess we'll wait and see. It seems like he is going a bit slowly, but that might just be because of which part of the track this is.
I mean, we had it mentioned earlier from Ultimate Kaiser, where they said that, well, the hard tyre could technically last that long, so maybe he's done a splash and dash and not replaced his tyres.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting strategy. It's left him in a competitive spot for now, and once Cuckoo does the overtake, it's another 16 seconds to Fennec behind. So Cuckoo in the pit stops has pulled a 10-second gap to Fennec, and Treble may well be safe with that. It's 10 laps left to go. Fennec would have to catch him with more than a second lap.
Oh, Cuckoo getting very close to the gravel, playing with a bit of fire there. And heading into this fast left-hander. They're very much gaining through the corners.
Oh, in the meantime, we've got Kaiser fat-shaming Matt.
He is 2 seconds fatter than Gillis. I didn't know that was a way of measuring it, as he does in fact, yeah, put faster. 2 seconds faster than
Yeah, it's not too
Gillis.
surprising though, Kaiser mentioning Matt's on the soft, as we now have trouble coming in again, so that was in fact a bugged pit stop.
No, it seems like the bug pit stop, but hopefully, if and when we move to a dedicated server, hopefully we won't see as many of those little tedious glitches, and at least they're happening now.
But yeah, I was going to mention about the thing that Kaiser said. Matt's on the soft, Gillish a lot slower per lap. Gillish, of course, has not pitted yet, and his pace was already kind of dropping off before the rest of the grid started to come into the pits. So he's been really keeping it out there on those tires, and yeah, it's a little strange strategy-wise, but we'll see where he ends up, because it's definitely something that no one else seems to be trying, as that is Trouble now out of the pits in P7, just ahead of these guys. So he's come out ahead of Eddie. However, behind Condor by a couple seconds, but he has, of course, gone through the pit lane multiple times, so that does explain that. Hopefully he's actually gotten a fuel splash this time.
But Eddie
He's again kind of losing a lot of time in this part of the track.
Oh, and touching a bit of grass there. Don't want to be touching... Well, I wouldn't even classify as the grass on this game as grass. It's ice, pretty much. As soon as you touch it, you become the definition of Spinala. As Eddie very close. Trouble defending that inside line. Eddie trying around the outside, but he's going to try cut down into the inside. Can Eddie get the momentum? Can he get the move done?
No, that Merch is too powerful on the exit there.
The Kunisek as well, getting extremely close, and that could be an opportunity to... that could have been moved, but... was that a bit of rubber banding? I have no idea what happened there. It looked like Eddie lifted off going through the corner, and that almost allowed Kunisek up the inside.
I mean, he's got dirty air that could well be possible, and meanwhile Dimitrov really salivating at the thought of these guys all colliding maybe, or even fighting harder, because he's catching them at a massive rate of knots. That could turn this into a 4-car fight. Now Eddie's made the move on Trouble, as has Kunisek, so Trouble losing 2 spots there in the space of 1 straight. And is he coming in again?
He's coming in again. 2 times in a row he's had the glitch. Now that is unfortunate.
I mean, he's got to be changing his strategy during the lap, right? Because that does tend to be what you do when you're in that kind of situation, but I don't think I've ever seen it fail 3 times in a row.
as Trouble, unfortunately, suffering from the glitch, entering the pit lane, and hopefully we won't see him in that pit lane for too much longer.
As it seems like Home Chicken, this was actually his first race in the game, had only seen the strategy screen 30 seconds before the start of the race, and this pit stop where he didn't get any fuel was actually his first pit stop ever, so...
Wow.
Not bad for a debut, I must say. I mean, it is unfortunate to end that way, but, I mean, the first time I was racing in this game, I was flying off the track at every corner, so... Also, who is that just ahead of these guys? Eddie's massively catching Fennec.
Yeah, Fennec in the McLaren. In fact, going a bit
losing
wide
that rear end.
there.
Has he pitted for fresh tires, or do you think he's kept his old ones?
I mean, there's no way in knowing, but I mean, if he has pitted and he's up in P6, he couldn't. He might not have changed his tires if he's pitted. If he has still pitted.
In the meantime, I think we're just about one lap away from Kays' maximum fuel prediction. Gillish has stayed out again on lap 27, so he's got to come in this lap or he's gonna die. I mean, his car's gonna die.
I mean, maybe not die, but definitely
Raising the stakes.
Uh,
this is definitely shaping up to be a four-way fight. Let's pay attention to Trouble, now sadly down in P13. See if he has to come into the pits again when he does round that final corner. He's nowhere near that corner yet, though. As it looks like Kunishek may be eyeballing a move into turn 1. No, thinks better of it, but still very, very close.
That's a lockup.
Fennec losing more and more time.
Yeah, Fennec getting a lockup. Oh my god, Dimitrov pulling out the Tokyo Drift out of that corner.
He's seen him do it many, many times this race, whether it's deliberate or a mistake. He's able to keep that car pointed the right direction, and it's quite impressive. Although not quite rewarding in positions, though, since he's still in P9. But yeah, definitely entertaining to watch.
I've just been hydrated, but I've made the mistake of not actually bringing a drink. So I will do that as soon as the race finishes. Do not worry, Karlov, I will not forget. And if I do, I will chug the bottle. I will,
now, which one of these four do you think is going to come out on top based on what we've seen so far?
Well, Fennec's in front, however, it is that idea of that potential strategy of the fact that he is on those older tyres. I mean, look how much he's getting. Oh my god, Dimitrov not getting as much. And you got Kunishek pressuring Eddie, so Kunishek clearly having the potential to make the move on Eddie. But Eddie, I would say out of all of these drivers, could be the one to potentially win it in this battle if he's clever enough.
Also, I just want to say Gillish has in fact stayed out for 28 laps now, so Keza was lying to us. Or he's just got bad math.
Oh, Eddie getting quite sideways there. Almost commentator cursing him, that was...
Yeah, can I say, by the way, we've had 0 curses all season so far.
Oh, Kunishek going in the inside and almost getting alongside, but Eddie just getting the exit. And I think Eddie, chances are, is going to want to defend down the inside there, almost 3 wide. As Eddie goes semi-defensive.
Going for it.
Eddie stuck on the outside, but that's going to turn into the inside of the next corner.
Oh, but that's Kuni going deep and potentially losing out to Dimitrov.
Dimitrov just staying in front.
And I think Trouble's been staying out on track for more than a lap now, so I think he's actually been given his fuel after who knows how many pit stops at this point, so that's good to see at least.
Yeah, indeed, but Fennec, though, still holding this train of cars behind, and he's got to try and do that for 6 laps. So it is going to be absolutely insane if he can keep this train of 3 cars behind him.
Yeah, it's we've not seen too much switching around of the positions in this battle so far, which is pretty surprising considering the fights we saw earlier. But yeah, they're all really on the limit, and it's really, really unpredictable as to who's going to come out on top because there's a lot of potential moves, as that's another one happening there.
And a bit of contact there between Kunishek and Eddie. That allows Dimitrov once again to get right up to the rear of Kunisek. But once again, yeah, as you said, just not able to swap positions, not enough momentum to make a move.
But when they're all on the limit like this, it's got to be a matter of time before someone makes a mistake.
Yeah, as you see,
That
oh my
almost
god.
looked like a mistaken pit lane entry there.
Yeah. I thought Eddie was pitting for a moment. I was like, did he not pit earlier? But no, Kunisek though, gonna be trying to take an advantage. Oh, and Eddie moving to the right just as Kunisek moves to the right. That could have been quite damage. Eddie breaking later. Oh, and he's gone wide. And that's going to allow Kunisek to make the move. Eddie is going to be dropping down to P8. And
yeah, that was Eddie defending the inside a little bit too late there. Lets Kuni through on the straight, and then he tried to compensate for it by breaking extra late, having the inside on turn 2. But yeah, when you break yourself and you don't get the car rotated fast enough, you relinquish that position. So now Kuni can start hunting Fennec for P6.
Fennec.
And it must be said, Gillish now on lap 29, no pit stop.
Wow, well,
30 even.
30, yeah. This is mind-boggling. The fact that our predictions essentially said that lap 27 was one of the max laps, and he's gone 3 extra laps. I mean, surely he can't go 4 extra more.
We've run the numbers, and it turns out Gillish is absolutely bonkers.
Oh, Dimitrov getting a really good exit on Eddie, who's made a mistake. Eddie defending the inside line. Dimitrov trying to
has he
make
left him the space? I don't think he has, but he's given the position. Eddie getting real desperate there to hold on to those spots as he's face full of gravel, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. He's going to have to hope that these guys up ahead fight even harder for the final 5 laps. And yeah, I am hearing that strange noise as well. It sounds like someone's engine's permanently revving like an airplane.
Oh, I think we do have a lapped car, so it might be them in the pit lane. But yeah, Kunisek though, now the one to be attacking Fennec. And whether he can do it over these next 4 laps, it's all to be seen.
Also, Matt's still only in P2, 5.8 seconds behind Gillish, who, what part of the track is he on? He is currently on lap 30, about to start lap 31. Is he going to come into the pits on this occasion? Or is he really going to try and do the whole race with no stops whatsoever?
I mean, it'd be madness if he does.
He
And
stays
it's
out
madness.
even longer. Well, this is incredible. Even if Mats gets him, which is very likely if he's actually doing lots of fuel saving, that's an easy P2, I think. He's 15 seconds ahead of Veilside in 3rd.
I mean, so Gillis doing a 151.3, Matt's crossing the line doing a 149.7.
Hold on, Nismo. That last lap was a personal best for Gillish. Has he been fuel saving massively earlier in the race, and that's why he was dropping away, and now he's just giving it full beans?
Also, I mean, yeah, even Ultimate K is saying maybe he's messed with the turbo to last him a bit longer in the race, but this is absolutely insane strategy if he has.
Yeah, I mean, if he's managed to do this, that is absolute galaxy brain strategy. It's basically just saying, mandatory pit stops? I think not. Not on my watch, as he's lost another second to Mats, but if he loses 1 second lap to Mats, he's still going to win the race.
Yeah, this could come down to the final lap, or if him or Matt makes a mistake.
And Kay's in the comments also doing some suggestions on how he's able to save that much fuel. If it's actually a setup thing, though, do you think he would actually spill the beans on that?
I mean, this early as well in preseason. I mean, maybe he's testing something out, seeing if it could potentially work, not fully going along with the plan, say, in an actual race.
Meanwhile, Dimitrov testing Kunisek's defensive skills as he's gone around the outside in turn 1, but has to relinquish the position in these slow corners. This battle is getting real tight again, but not tight enough for Eddie to catch up. He's 3 seconds down.
Yeah, these 3 been absolutely glued to each other over the course of this evening. And with 3 laps left, some drivers in this group could be getting a bit more desperate. Fennec definitely might be defending a bit heavier than most. But we know that Kunisek is going to be looking for that move over the course of these next few laps. Once again, Fennec losing the rear end. That allows Kunisek to get even closer.
Indeed, as once again testing the limits in the Schumacher S's and keeping it on track. I hope that none of these guys have penalties, because this is the kind of fight that you really want to see decided on track, and I think the racing so far has been very, very hard, but also quite clean.
Yeah, indeed, and just behind this battle could be another battle appearing as Tomahawks.
Oh, Tomba's been catching these guys at a crazy rate of knots. He's set a 149.9 on the last lap. These guys are setting 152s.
And he is within 3 seconds of that group ahead, so if...
And Condor pits again from P5.
Well, I mean, maybe Condor got... it's insane. Condor pitting this late in the game? I mean, 3 laps remaining. Do you think he may be under-fueled?
I mean, I think he's already had a pit stop, so maybe he made a mistake in his previous one.
Tomahawk's
Now
down the inside.
sending it. And that looks to be an easy overtake. I don't think Eddie's going to be able to fight that at all, but the fight up in front is still going on. Cooney is about as close to Fennec as it can get without destroying that bumper. Gillish still in the lead as well on lap 32, 2.3 seconds ahead of Mats. Watch that gap, because we're going to have to switch the camera to it when it gets close enough.
Yeah, also Tomahawks, yeah, going to be joining this battle. I mean, he passed Eddie like he was sitting still into that braking zone. And now he's got his eyes fully set on this battle ahead. I mean, he's already within, what, a second already now of the of Dimitrov.
And Condor has been reunited with Binding after that second pit stop, so that they could potentially have some more fun in these final few laps as well. We're not going to switch the camera to that, though, because we still have a 4-car fight for P5 and a potential fight for the race lead as well.
Yeah, it's all happening in these final laps, and it's getting extremely close. I wouldn't be surprised if on the
Oh! And that's going to be a free position for Tomba. Manages to avoid contact there, and potentially even some chances for Eddie to go attack Dimitrov, but we know that's no easy driver to pass, so plenty more action for us in these final few laps, but Kunisek still as close as he can get to Fennec, and Tomba starting to run out of time to catch these guys.
Yeah, with 2 laps remaining on the penultimate lap. Is it penultimate? Or
It is the penultimate lap now for the leaders.
Yeah, getting extremely close. That's going to be Dimitrov looking for a move on Eddie.
Oh,
wait,
so
Eddie got passed?
by. Oh, interesting. All right, well done to Eddie there. That's something that not a lot of people have been able to do quite so easily this race. So quickly double check this fight, because, oh, is that around the outside? Kunisek for P5.
And that's move complete, but can Fennec go for a run? He might have the momentum, but decides to stay behind, and Tomahawks now also on the back of Fennec. So Fennec under pressure in these final laps, losing 1 position this lap. He's not going to be wanting to lose another, but Tomahawks getting the run down this straight. Does Fennec defend the position? It seems to actually have lifted going into the corner, and Tomahawks just sailing past him and just making all his moves this current lap look as easy as can be.
Yeah, that was strange from Fennec. That's a move you'd only really see someone do if they're A, trying to save fuel, or if they're unleashing the guy behind them to go fight the guy up ahead, which may be what he's trying to do. Maybe he thinks he can't quite catch Kunisek anymore, so he's going to unleash Tomba, hope they both fight really hard, and then try and overtake both of them. But that's a really risky strategy with just 1 lap remaining. The leaders are on that final lap. Mats is 1.6 seconds behind the leader. Gillish has not pitted this entire race, and everyone else has.
It's like watching the Cars movie with Lightning McQueen trying to trundle his way to the finish line to hopefully pit, because he didn't pit for tyres, and Gillis is going to be hoping. I mean, he's 1.6 seconds ahead, well 1.7 seconds ahead of Matt. He has that potential, but one mistake.
And Fennec's coming in on the final lap of the race.
And what could that be for?
It's gotta be fuel. It's gotta be. But one sector left to go, and still 1.5 seconds separate the leaders. I don't think Matt's expected the race to end like this. I don't think anyone expected it to end like this, but we have Gillish now on what has to be the oldest tires in the history of the universe, and absolute fumes in the tank of that car, coming through the final corner to win the first race of the season, well, the preseason race, and take P1. Matt's 1 second behind. What an absolute masterclass of a strategy that was.
Yeah, I mean, no one, I don't think anyone going into this race expected to see someone, one, not pitting for tyres, or two, not pitting at all. Absolute masterclass by Gillis.
See, I think we'd get a couple F1 performances like that in the sport as well if they allowed you to just do a whole race without pitting, because with the state of those tires, I think it is possible. But yeah, in this league, though, I was not expecting that whatsoever. Looking forward to that interview already. Doesn't look like Tomba's quite got the pace to get him on the last lap, though, so let's quickly double check on these guys. Dimitrov still really close to Eddie. Eddie holding on to that spot. Condor still ahead of Binding as well. Just double checking this fight again, though. Just few corners left.
Will Tomba send it down the inside? No, they stay behind. Definitely would have been an opportunistic move. Trying to get the exit speed that they need. Are they close enough to make a move? It doesn't seem, and I think that's going to be Kunisek holding on to that P5 position, and Tomahawks having to settle for that P6.
Yeah, P6, not a bad recovery, though, after what he's been through this race. A lot of people coming in very late as well. Maybe miscalculated on that field, Condor being one of them, Fennec being another. And it seems like Condor was able to stay ahead of Binding, though. Dimitrov, I think he might have glitched. It says he's losing positions.
Well, he could have had a penalty. Maybe overspeeding into the pit lane,
true.
having a 10-second penalty, or even worse, potentially a track limit penalty. Who knows?
And that is the end of the first preseason race over at this season of MSR in these very, very fancy fast cars. Gillish taking the first win of the season with 0 pit stops, a nice round number there, followed by Mats taking 1 pit stop. Veilside, his teammate, in 3rd place with 1 pit stop as well. Then almost a minute behind, you got Cuckoo, also 1 pit stop. Kunisek in P5 with 1 as well. Tomba there, the first 2-stopper to finish a minute and 12 behind the leader. Eddie not too far behind as well. Condor also not lapped with 2 pit stops, so all these guys doing a pretty good job there. Followed by Binding as well. Dimitrov had a 10-second penalty, so that's definitely something that happened in the pit lane. Fennec was behind as well with that late extra stop. Trouble with his triple stop. Definitely not a planned event there. And Xevious just behind. Exus, we haven't seen him all race, and that's because he had a really, really awful and lonely race. I hope his points-paying races have better outcomes, because that was not pretty. And Keza, of course, retired very early on with that issue. So, yeah, that is our top 15 for this event.
Yeah, Trouble having very much an unfortunate issue with that fuel bug, as well as, of course, Lewis, unfortunately, having to retire from it as well. But yeah, an extremely close event, and I mean, I'm still blown back by Gillis's strategy. I mean, going into this evening, I don't think anyone saw that coming.
I mean, Mats must have thought he was taking the piss out of it, because he was just staying out that ridiculously long, and if he had pitted, that would have been a disaster strategy. But since he was able to stay out, it actually turned to be a massive advantage, and Mats was just pretty much 1, maybe 2 laps short of being able to make the move for that position.
Yeah, and well, if we're gonna have races that come down to strategy like that, well, count me in, because that was, I think, if there was one more lap, Gillis would have easily been under threat.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, considering the fact that he was still able to get decent laps out of those tires, he may well have been able to defend as well. So who knows how long it would have taken Mats to get an actual overtake done. But yeah, definitely not an outcome I was expecting. The first driver that we're going to be interviewing, though, is the one who had the most pit stops tonight. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Trouble. Now, congrats on your performance. You did some good defending out there, lots of fighting, and then you kind of became... hold on. You were a little... Can you restart that?
Can I restart what, sorry?
Everything you said, because you were a little... your audio sounded
I was just going to say... what you meant is I became a test dummy for how many things can go wrong.
Well, I was going to say, later in the race you became infamous for your multiple pit stops, because that definitely seemed like some bugs going on. But before you mention what happened there, tell us a bit about those fights you had, because that was some good stuff.
So, I set a decent qualifying lap. Then obviously the safety car stuff happened. Don't quite know what happened there, but gained a few positions. After that and Xavier spinning out, I was up to like 5th, 6th. But basically, I had not done, well, obviously I hadn't done any practice, but I hadn't driven the car at all on high fuel load, and it was so much sketchier, so I just couldn't push. So yeah, I was a good bit slower than in quali, just because of how it handled on more fuel. So yeah, I just didn't have the pace, so I kept being overtaken. Also, I will say, Cuckoo is insane. She literally, when did you see the overtake she did on me?
We saw so many overtakes at this point. It's gonna have to rewatch it.
I want to say, I think you did, but basically, I was like, oh yeah, I'm braking late. Cuckoo brakes later and hits the apex and makes the inside of the corner, and I'm like, bro, what do you have, a parachute? Like, literally, just I don't know. I couldn't stop anywhere near as quick. Partly, I think that's the Nissan, and partly, I think that might have been on softs or something like that. So I just could not compete.
Yeah, but I mean, even though you didn't quite seem to have the pace, the fact that you were able to defend so well and fight so many people for so long, and the fact that this car is actually going to be good at some of the other tracks, I think that's some pretty positive information for the next few races.
Yeah. Yeah, for some of the other races, it will probably be very good. But for this one, it was okay for defending just because of the straight line speed, because I could not quite, but nearly outrun people with slipstream. But it just didn't have the exits to get overtakes done, just due to not having the confidence to dive bomb. You couldn't like finish the move so much, and yeah, it just was not the best on this track. But it's still decent car, and in some of the straight lines, it'll we know what'll happen. Whoever's watching will see what'll happen, because it'll be obvious.
Now, speaking of not the best at this track, your pit crew, what went on there?
So you guys said, or you mentioned about the fuel bug as I was coming into the pits, and then I got a fuel bug. So for one, that's your. Well, I don't know if you've had any other commentators' curses, but add that to the list.
Did we commentate curse you?
That's our first one of the season.
Oh god.
Yeah, you literally said it as I was coming into the pits. I then did the pit stop and got a fuel bug. Then the second time I came in, I don't know if it was a unlucky second one or if I might have misset something. Like if I went on to a new setup. And I did change stuff, but if I'd mucked it up somehow, then that might be why. Because it didn't do anything at all. Like, it didn't change tyres, it didn't do anything. So I don't know if it was unlucky, or if I'd set it wrong, or I don't know. But then, yeah, third time round, it finally fixed it. Although I did realise that, again, I still had it set wrong, because I was sort of a bit in a rush. So I didn't mean to change tyres and ended up changing tyres. Because... one thing was that after coming out the first time when I came out ahead of Cuckoo, Nismo said, I think his strategy might be to do a splash and dash and not change tyres. You were exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. Too bad I couldn't do anything with it because I didn't have the fuel in the car.
Oh. But yeah. Do you think those accidental tyres helped you out in the end, or were they the wrong set?
No, they were the same set, but I don't know. At that point, it was a bit late because I just want to try out. Bear in mind it's preseason. I want to try out different strategies, and like Gilish's, I saw someone potentially doing that because mine said 33 laps for max fuel, so I definitely could have done that with a little fuel saving. I definitely, by the sounds of it, less than Gilish did. But and ironically, with the pit stop issues, maybe that probably would have gone a lot better. But funnily enough, that's hindsight, so can't do anything about it.
Exactly, and I've just got one last question for you, Trouble, before we do move on to our race winner. And this is actually a question from Twitch chat.
Okay.
Worst CS map?
Worst CS map. Well, I don't play enough. Like, there's probably some I've just not played but I'm gonna say Anubis, but it's probably just that I haven't played very much and thus am like awful at it. So.
You heard it here, Anubis fans. This is your next target. All right, Trouble, thank you for coming
I'm
on.
the
It's
next
been
target. Alternatively, make me play the map.
yeah, it's definitely been a pleasure watching you race tonight. Nismo, do you have any more questions for him?
No, but Karlova does. Well, actually, Nismo might, but Karlova also has one. So
I was
I'll answer
about to
that
say,
as
how can you read Nismo's mind?
well. Do you have one, Nismo? Sorry about that.
No, I'll just read out. I'll just use Karlova's, and that's what is Trouble's PB for most pit stops?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And then my follow-up to that is, does it have to be in the MSR league?
You think?
You can give us both numbers.
Okay, I'll give you both. So in the MSR league, I believe it is 4 or 5. In another league that predated MSR, I was effectively fighting with someone else to have the most pit stops. In I think it was in a PC2 league, not an AMS2 one. But I think I got 8 pit stops in one race.
Damn.
That is not bad at all.
That was also not an endurance race. That was a normal race.
Imagine it was 8 pit stops on a 5-lap race.
No, okay, no, not quite. That'd be great, but no, unfortunately not.
All right,
I think it was like a probably similar length to this. Was probably about 30 laps.
All right, well,
That still wasn't great.
But yeah, thanks, Trouble, for all the pit stop lore, and apologies to the audience if you hear some noise. There is a thunderstorm in the background at my place, so yeah, it might be hearing that. But yeah, Trouble, thanks for coming on. We're going to move on to the race winner now.
No problem. Try not to commentators curse me, please. Bye.
Oh.
So that is our first. I didn't realize we had any, but I guess yeah, I guess we have in fact got our first commentator's curse of the season. That's incredible. But yeah, anyways, let's bring in the Magic Man himself, also known as our race winner, Gilish Homan.
Gilish, welcome. And first thing I want to say is we had some people run the numbers, and the result is that you are in fact an absolute fuel wizard. How did you pull that off?
Well, lean fuel mix. I increased my tire pressures a bit, dropped the brake ducts. The aero was still pretty high, actually. But then short shifting and what's the word? Coast and
Lift and coast.
lift and coast. Thank you.
So you obviously did a lot of setup work for this and a lot of driving style changes as well, but we did notice you were setting some PBs at the end of the race. Was there a point where you stopped saving fuel, or were you really saving fuel the whole race?
No, at the last few laps, I noticed that Mats was catching me too quickly, and I thought I had about 1.5 liters of fuel left at the end, by the end, so I could go from lean fuel mix to rich again and do less lift and coast, and it was enough to stay in front. But the last few laps were tense.
So how much did you end up finishing with?
1 liter.
1 liter, wow. And how much were you consuming per lap?
Yeah, I think most of the race it was 3 liters per lap, while I think in quali it's 3.4. I saw.
So you really planned it down to the lap. That is really precise work, and
Yeah.
must be said, I don't think anyone else would have or could have pulled that off. So well done to you to win that one by just 1 second.
Yeah.
At what point did you decide that was going to be your strategy?
I when I went into setup to raise the field to the max, I saw it said 29 laps or 30 laps. I don't remember, something like that. And the whole race is 34, where the first is formation. And I felt that I did not have the ultimate pace this time compared to Mats. So I didn't think I would stand a chance to try and just race him normally. And well, it's preseason. What the heck? Let's see what happens. I wasn't sure if the fuel saving was going to be enough because I hadn't tested it. I just thought I'd put it to lean and make a few setup changes and see where I land.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, I think people said that in PC2 that the lean fuel mix didn't really do anything. It definitely seemed to help you this time around in AMS2. Is this the first time that you've really used it, or have you tried it before?
No, I've tried it before. Yeah, and I did notice that. Yeah, I think it certainly matters in speed, and I assume it also matters in fuel. It seemed to work, so.
Now, another question from me personally: do you think Keza is going to add a mandatory pit stop rule after what you just pulled tonight?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a fair strategy. I mean, yeah, I think it's a pity. I don't know if I'm going to try it again. I'm not sure if it's always the right strat.
No, but I wholeheartedly agree with you there. I think that was a very interesting strategy. Kept the race exciting till the very end. I mean, we didn't even really have a fight for the lead until it turned out that you were just not going to use your pit crew whatsoever.
Yeah.
Did you do the whole race on hards or softs?
Softs.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, now that does raise my awareness a bit, considering that it was 2 times tire wear. I'm not mistaken, this right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I'm guessing the tire wear wasn't as bad since you weren't really pushing it in any of the corners.
Yeah, obviously I'm trying to not slide too much because it wears the tires and you lose energy basically.
How were the temps on those things? Was it ever too cold, too hot?
No, the rears were still 90 something, so a little on the hot side maybe.
Now that is the more I learn about your strategy, the more gobsmacked I get, honestly.
I also hadn't tested, but in quali I noticed that I wasn't wearing down the softs so much. I'm not power sliding these cars. It seems that whenever I do, I lose time. So
I think we might see some people petition the devs to get a ×10 tire wear option in the game.
well, I think you can set it to that. You can set it higher than that.
That's an actual thing?
It's more than 2, I think. I don't know how far it goes. But...
One lockup and you just it's gone.
Yeah, I did have minor lockups, but it didn't destroy the tires.
Ah.
Yeah, that is quite fascinating. Yeah, all I can say to that is congrats on winning that. It was an absolute galaxy brain strategy. We do have one more question from Twitch chat though, and that is, what does winning the race mean to you as a competitor?
What does winning? Well, I enjoyed it this time because it was a different way to win.
So you don't enjoy your other wins?
No, I also enjoyed the other ones.
I mean, talking about the other ones just quickly. I mean, you of course being last season's championship winner, and of course this race winner. Do these cars have any similarities compared to last season's car, or are they completely different in handling models?
I feel pretty different, but maybe in the end, in how you drive them, you also have to be careful on the throttle. It's pretty easy to light up the rears, especially in slow turns. But they're much better in high-speed turns. These GT1s. Yeah, you know.
Well, yeah, definitely seemed like it, and I'm sure we're going to see plenty more tracks with a lot more high-speed corners where you can really eke out the full potential of this car. But yeah, that's going to be all the questions for me, Gilish. Once again, congrats on that epic win. It's one of the more memorable ones out there. And looking forward to seeing what you can do next time.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
All right, let's see who else we can drag in here.
We've got quite the choice. We've got Fennec, Binding, or Cuckoo.
We don't have the results posted, so we can't do it in order. Drag in whoever you want.
Oh, well, I'm gonna be. Ooh, who do I bring in? Who do
Oh,
I
and don't
bring
forget to kick out Mr. No Pit Stop over here. He's still in here. There we go.
Who to choose? Who to choose? I'll bring in Binding.
Yeah, well actually...
Oh, oh God. Oh, hi. I was watching my death.
Well, Binding, we did see some good action from you. Multi-car fight that lasted quite a while. First and foremost, welcome back.
Yeah, I'm back. I've got a new wheel. I did a thing. I didn't finish dead last for once. Let's go.
That definitely seemed like you had a good time battling as well. Can you tell us a bit more about that multi-car fight?
I was shitting myself. Ignore my language. I was initially, I can't pronounce his name, Dimitrov, the Porsche.
Yes.
Yes.
Call him Porsche. He and me, Cuckoo, I can't fucking, I don't know if I can say Cuckoo's real name.
Oh, is that confidential information?
I don't know if she's told you guys, so I'm just going to go with Cuckoo. Point being, they were fighting, and I'm pretty sure Dimitriov's on a controller because his movements are very, very sudden, very spiky.
Ooh.
And they were constantly tapping. Some of it was me, Cuckoo's fault. Some of it was Dimitriov's fault. They were just kind of banging. No, don't take that out of context, please. And I was behind them. It was scary. A few laps went on. Dimitrov went off. I overtook them, and so did Kunasek. A couple of laps later, I make a mistake going through the Schumacher S's because dirty air in these cars sucks. It's not pleasant. It's unfun. I don't appreciate how I can take a corner, absolutely balls out, and the next time, just because I'm slightly behind someone, I just absolutely eat shit on the grass. It's not pleasant. Either way, I was fighting with Kunasek. And then the missile, the man from the heavens, the Porsche from Germany, came in out of nowhere, obliterated me, drove off.
Yeah, I think we actually caught that on stream thinking about it.
It's not as dramatic as I was saying. It was a half spin from me, but because there were so many cars behind me, I had to stay off the track to make sure I didn't hit anyone.
And fair play to you for that. You did end up losing a bit of time in the pit stops as well, I think. Do you know what happened there?
Yes, everyone decided not to change tires.
Really?
And I did.
Huh. And did you go soft, or what was the strategy there?
Soft. I did not change my tires. I mean, I did change my tires. I did not repair anything, is what I was meant to say. I took about the same amount of fuel as everyone else, but I changed my tires, and that means everyone just shut on me.
But you say you didn't repair any damage. How much did you have?
I actually got quite lucky, and I got away with that with no damage. So, as far as I'm aware, either way, I wasn't checking, but I didn't feel any difference in the car. So, yeah, I got quite lucky there.
Yeah, I mean that's always good to have a positive start to the season, and I do appear to have noticed that you're not in a team with Cuckoo this time. Have relations soured?
No. We're still basically teammates. We still chat to each other. We still share setup tips. It's just that because Escher was her teammate last season, and because I wasn't able to join, it would have been unfair for me to suddenly just push her out of the team, or push Escher out of the team.
Fair enough.
So well, obviously, it was mainly Cuckoo's decision. I wouldn't have minded either way. I'm not sure about Escher. Might have felt a little bit bad for that, but Escher wanted to stay with Cuckoo, so I decided to look for another teammate. And in this case, it was Shad who made delivery. So thank you, Shad, if you're listening. And
Yeah, I mean, Shad was definitely...
I'm sorry that your engine went out, Shad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was a big bummer for Shad, but he was in stream cheering you on at some point during the race, so definitely good support there. We do have a question, speaking of chat, though, and that is, what are your goals for an upcoming season?
My goals, considering my general performance in MSR is not usually great, I just want to finish each race if I can.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Obviously, I've been a little bit more competitive than normal because I'm driving the fastest car. Which,
And you've got a new wheel.
That is true. That is true. I don't think it's made that much of a difference, but it is nice to have. I've got a little Fanatec F1 rim. It's the cheap one, not the fancy one. Unfortunately, I'm not that.
Was your previous wheel a Fanatec as well, or is it already an upgrade?
That was Thrustmaster, which is
Yeah.
still behind me. Fuck you piece of shit. Okay. I don't. I think I've explained this before, but how my. I'm sorry for going on a bit of a tangent here. If you don't mind, I can stop.
It's all right.
Okay, I think. Do you want me to explain or?
Yeah,
Go right ahead.
My last wheel, I don't exactly know what happened, but for some ungodly reason, it was deciding to press inputs on its own. Namely, for my main debilitating thing for a set of course, not a set of course, so no, definitely not a set of course. So that one was okay, kinda. For AMS2 was that it would randomly press the pause button.
Oh no.
It would shift down as well, which was also not great.
You have the ghost of some very angry driver influencing your races.
Yeah, probably. My dad's just absolutely pissing on my grave right now. I cannot believe it. That was bleak. It slipped out my mouth, and then I realised.
But if you're the one in the grave,
it's a long story. Don't question.
if you're the one in the grave, that means you're the ghost cursing someone else's race. Who are we speaking to over here?
Driving. It's fine. They have a sim racing set up in hell. Okay, it's okay.
Oh, okay. Fairly decent internet too.
Great internet. It's not as bad as people think it is.
Okay.
The pitchforks are a little bit uncomfortable to sit on, but oh Christ. But no, honestly, I'm just hoping to not suck completely and finish the races.
Yeah, I mean, considering the racecraft that you demonstrated tonight, I think that is most definitely a reasonable expectation. Nismo, do you know up to what position we're dishing out points this season?
I mean, I can quickly check, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, last season it was P20, and I wouldn't be surprised if we were using the same. If I can check, I wouldn't be surprised if we're using the same exact point system. No, it's good. Ooh, if I can. Yeah, so it's going to be, 2 P20, as I said. So first place will get 30 points, going all the way down to P20, P20 getting 1 point. So
Consolation prize, basically. But there's 22 cars, right? So there's two people that might not get points.
If they don't DNF.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, that's a pretty decent chance of getting points, even if you have a bad race.
Yeah. Just a quick shout out to Lewis, who had his first AMS2 race, as far as I'm aware. Well, league race, anyways. And he
did mention that in chat.
He fucking overtook me, and I was like, I was just completely caught off guard because I wasn't expecting it. It was after I'd made a mistake, and I just see from the heavens a black and yellow Porsche.
hang on, you're not allowed to do that. You've just started.
Yeah, no, he did really well until apparently he didn't get refueled on the pit stops.
Yes,
So,
fell victim to the field bug on their very first pit stop.
yeah, which is great. That's amazing.
It is indeed a baptism of fire right there, but yeah.
Had he joined you guys for an interview in the rated interview chat, I would have definitely given my blessing to interview him because he did really well for his first race.
Absolutely. I hope he comes in next time.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
Unless Nismo
Not
has any
for
more
me,
questions.
no.
All right. Well, then, thank you for coming on, Binding, and wishing you good luck with that
I'm gonna
new,
have
hopefully
nightmares.
unhaunted wheel.
I'm gonna have nightmares of Porsches from now on. Anytime I'm in a chicane, I'm gonna look behind me.
I mean, that is generally a good thing to do when you go into a chicane.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. Right, well, it was nice talking to you guys, and I will see you next week.
Yeah, good to see you
Absolutely.
racing with us again.
Hopefully, I don't somehow end up dying like I usually do in leagues. It's gonna be great.
No, don't commentate or curse yourself. We've only had one so far this season.
See you guys in a bit.
Have a good one. All right, now it seems like Fenix muted himself, so we're forced to pull in Cuckoo.
Exactly. They might be live in Discord, but they're now going to be live with us.
Cuckoo, you are in fact live on TV. What do you have to say?
I am still violently ill. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh my goodness.
Don't worry, I sounded even worse yesterday.
Oh, well, Cuckoo with the new and improved question mark voice? No, I'm just kidding. You had an amazing race, lots of action. It did seem like the tires. Wait, no, I'm thinking of Fennec now. Still, you had a great race, lots of action, lots of fighting. Tell us about it. If you can.
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, pretty good race actually. Went better than I expected after that qualifying, to be honest. A lot of really good battles at the beginning. Managed to make the softs last the whole race. Just put some fuel in around the halfway mark, really. And yeah, just cruised to the end from there, really.
Yeah,
quite an uneventful second half, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely did notice that the first half was filled with a good amount of 4-car, 8-car fights, and then the second half was more 2x2 fighting. But tell us a bit more about that first half of the race then. Did you have any off-track moments? Did it get forced off at all, or was it really just all clean, good racing?
I had a couple of oopsies on my own early on, one or two, nothing too major. I know, I think I was charging down Phoenix at one point. I made a mistake and had to catch back up to him. But yeah, I started, 10th after Kays' wheel quit on him. So I sort of had to fight forward through the field from there, really.
Well, and hold on, that is actually good to know. Since you were in P10 at the start, did you see what caused the safety car?
I believe it was the resulting incidents from Tomba getting spun round at the beginning.
Really?
Yeah, Valeside went deep into turn 1, spun Tomba. I'm assuming I've not actually looked properly yet.
Well, from what I remember in
trying to avoid that.
From what I remember in the replay, I think there was a collision between the two, but Valeside stayed on track and Tomba just completely flew out of turn 1. So I don't think the collision that happened behind was a result of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't actually know precisely what happened there. I was assuming it would be some kind of reaction to that happening that maybe caused some collisions, but...
yeah, someone might have gotten spooked because of it, but Tomba was definitely way off the track.
Yeah, it looked like he just went a bit wide. I don't know if someone else has sort of caused it, really.
Oh yeah, there was contact with Valeside going into turn 1.
Yeah, it looks like Shad and Dimitrov, actually. I've still got the replay up here. Let's have a look. Where is he? There he is. Doing some sleuthing live on air. Oh yeah, it was definitely Shad that kicked it off.
Ooh.
Yeah, Shad kicked it off.
Maybe that broken engine was a divine retribution after all.
Oh, is that what happened to Shad, is it?
Yep, engine went pop.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yep.
Yeah, good few battles. Yeah, fought through the field. I ended up catching up to Phoenix eventually. We had a good battle. I had a good battle with Dimitrov as well. We had a little few touches, but nothing major.
Yeah,
so
lots of side by side between you two.
Yeah, it was a good battle actually. I ended up going deep into turn 1. I nearly punted someone out, and then I sort of, I did the sportsmanly thing. I pulled over way to the inside and let them back through, and then I was a bit too sportsmanlike, as it turned out. So I ended up letting 3 people back through, including Dimitrov. So then I had to get back past him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where the fight between us sort of came from, and then yeah, a lot of side by side there, trying to leave space. It was a pretty good fight.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looked like every inch of the track was being used there, and ended up coming out with a pretty clean result.
Yeah, definitely. Few tight squeezes. I'm not entirely sure what happened at the end of the battle. We were just talking about it in the chat. For me, it looked like he sort of reacted to me still being on the inside, but reacted a little too much and ran wide. He says that I touched him by the look of it, so I don't know, maybe it was a bit of net code there. But no, really good battle actually. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, I sort of cleared everyone there. After I cleared Phoenix, I think I was mostly just hunting down Gillish, who was fuel saving quite heavily.
Yeah, absolutely, and he ended up winning the race by not pitting at all, which I don't think anyone was expecting.
Yeah, I
that.
sort of realised what he was up to actually when I caught him down the main straight in the Nissan. I was like, hang on a minute, he's doing something here.
Yeah, because he let you buy
this
quite
should not be
easily.
happening. So yeah, I didn't even think to try it myself, but well played to him for making it work and getting the win.
Did
That was really awesome.
Did you think Trouble might have been on the same strategy as well before he ended up succumbing to the fuel bug?
I didn't really have many thoughts about Trouble. He sort of came out the pits in front of me, and I remember seeing that and being surprised that he'd made it back in front of me, I think it was. Was he in front of me before? I don't remember. But yeah, I remember him coming out the pits in front of me, and I was thinking, wow, that is the quickest pit stop in the world. He must have taken loads of fuel at the start and just put a really tiny amount in. And then he pit again at the end of the lap, and I was like, okay. And then he pitted again. I was like,
I mean, you can't get a smaller amount than 0, that's for sure.
That's unfortunate. But yeah, I was quite looking forward to the battle to get him back, and then I realised that actually his pit stop was so quick because it was screwed up. So that was really unfortunate for him.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen in any points awarding rounds.
Ended up with quite a healthy gap, really. So,
now, it does seem like our final interviewee has succumbed to fatigue, so you are going to be our last one tonight, Cuckoo. And we do have a question from chat as well. Not sure if you have, I'm not sure if you have the experience to answer this one, but the question is it worse to drive while being sick or feeling hungover?
Well, I don't drink, so I can't speak as to being hungover. But
maybe compare it with being deathly tired.
Yeah, I'd say it depends what you're sick with, really. For me, at the moment, I mostly just sound horrible. I wasn't too fevery or anything, or have any pains or anything, and I wasn't hacking my lungs up. So I was sort of able to deal with it mostly normal in my approach to the race. So it depends, really, what you're sick with.
Fair enough. Nismo, do you have any more questions for Cuckoo?
Yeah, well, not a question, more of a thank you. Because if I'm not mistaken, you were one of the first people to pick the Nissan, even though you're not even BOP to it. If I'm not mistaken, that is. And
yeah, Nissan or McLaren is what I was restricted to on the BOP. But yeah, basically, pretty much everyone that got BOP'd picked the McLaren instead of the Nissan. I think it's just me, Kunisek, and Tomba that picked it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, doing really good of it as well.
I just really like this car. I like it more than the McLaren, so I was like, you know what? I'm going for it.
I mean, you know, anything with the word Nismo in it is awesome. So it just, it makes sense to pick the Nismo.
There's no bias at all there, really.
Nismotopia.
Yeah, no, I definitely think I had a stronger race than I did qualifying. I was a lot more on pace in the race than I was in qualifying. Quali left a bit to be desired. Obviously flattered a bit by Tomba having that incident early on. But I think it still was a very good race despite that.
Hey, and I mean, you also overtook Gillish and lived to tell the tale, so.
Yeah, I mean, I was flattered a bit by his fuel saving, but, you know, I'll take it. An overtake on Gillish is an overtake on Gillish, isn't it?
Exactly, just like how Ellie's fastest lap and pole are Ellie's fastest lap and pole from last season.
Still counts.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on, Cuckoo. It's been a pleasure having you. And
yeah,
hope you get well soon.
Hopefully I'll have some strong races this season.
Strong races and strong health.
Yeah, hopefully so. Fucking hell. It's been what a waste of a week this has been.
And definitely not a waste of on-track time, though.
Yeah. Well, I've not really done anything all week. So, yeah. Fingers crossed
mentally
this does
preparing
not repeat
for this
anytime soon.
Yeah.
So, thank you, guys.
Yeah, until next time or next week.
Yeah, hopefully another strong one. I'll see you then.
See ya.
Have a good one.
Alright. Is gonna be us coming to the end of the interviews and getting to the end of the stream, and what a race. What an evening. We've had strategy that we didn't even know was possible. We had a battling to the absolute limit. We've had new drivers have absolutely amazing debuts, and we've had some drivers unfortunately get caught out by the AMS gods and punished. But altogether, an absolutely brilliant race. As Carlos asked me, what about a raid? Do I raid? The question is, who do I raid and who do I raid? Don't know. Yeah, no, a really good event altogether. And yeah, hopefully it will be, hopefully next week, which I believe, if I can get it up, is
So we've got Jack saying, don't know what's going on, but I'm here for the vibes, and I respect that massively.
I mean, with the questions he's been asking, he's going to take my job as an interviewer. I mean, I don't think I could be thinking of anything better than what he was saying. But yeah, no.
I mean, I just want to add as well. We're here every week. We got league races on Monday evenings. We got more casual races on Tuesday evenings. Those don't always get live streamed, but you're definitely free to participate in those if you do have Automobilista 2. It's free to enter. Do got to sign up for the Monday League though, so there's that. And of course, if you want to join the Discord, which is pretty much required if you want to at least do the Monday races with us, yeah, then you're free to do so.
Yeah. Also, Carl, with those 2 suggestions, just send them in the chat and hopefully I'll have a look at them and then see if I can raid. Until then, it's been great to be back in the commentators booth after a 2-week break. And we'll hopefully see you guys next week for the second and final preseason race before the actual races. But until then, guys, it's been great commentating, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Good night, everyone.
And they're off. Green flag racing. Matt's getting an amazing start. Ultimate Case actually catching speed, napping. Matt getting the jump on his teammate down the inside. Necron losing to Cuckoo on the start. Can he pressure Dino into a mistake? Dino goes too wide and extremely close for P1. And is this going to be Jedlin going down the inside? Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, that's a spin. And there's another safety car. Oh my god, this carnage.
Jedlin and Kays are both in the pits. Fennec, Exus, and Diener all coming in as well. It'll be very tight if he still wants to make it to the back of this pack, but in the meantime, we do have everyone out of the pit, so we're probably going to get going on this next lap. We are, in fact, restarting now, regardless of that incident.
Okay, he's looking for that undercut. Does he get it? It looks like he might do that side by side and very close together. Cuckoo looking for that inside line on Jedlin ahead. Going into 130R, but they're going to be wanting to go fully defensive into the chicane of Casio Triangle. He's going to end up finishing in P1, crossing the line. Greenlink's going to cross the line. It's going to be Ultimate Case across the line.
Gilish comes across the line to win his second MSR title.